Use and utilize. If you ask a native English speaker what the difference between these two words is, you might hear an answer like this. I don't know. I never really thought about it. Don't they just mean the same thing? But they don't mean the same thing, and they do know the difference, but they don't have to think about it. They kind of just feel the difference between these two words. Now, by the end of this video, you'll be able to feel the difference too, and you'll be able to clearly tell anyone what the difference is. These words also change in quite interesting ways once you look at the different forms, and I've also included some discussion questions and practice activities at the end of the video so you can really test your understanding. Now have a look at the first picture. Try and describe the scene. I can see a boy. He's in the forest. He's going camping. He's holding a hammer and he's hitting the nail with the hammer. Or he's hitting the tent peg with the hammer. Now, can I say he's using the hammer? Yes, definitely. Use is fine in this situation. But can I say he's utilizing the hammer? No. But why? Well, let's have a look at the next example. So we can see the same scene, but this time the boy is not holding a hammer, he's holding a rock. But he's still hitting the tent peg with the rock. So can I say he's using the rock to hit the tent peg? Yes. Is he also utilizing the rock? Yes. So I can use the words use and utilize in this picture, but in this one I can only use the word use, not utilize. Use basically means to use something for the intended purpose. So the intended purpose of a hammer is to hit things. So use was acceptable in the first picture. But utilize means to use something in a smart or creative way outside of its intended purpose. So the intended purpose of a rock is not to hit a tent peg, but the boy used the rock in a smart or creative way as a hammer. In this picture, the boy's holding a bat, and he's hitting his friend with the bat. Now, what's the intended purpose of a bat? Well, it's to play baseball. So is he using the bat? Yes. Is he utilizing it? Also, yes. Now, is she utilizing the bat to play baseball? No. The intended use of a baseball bat is to play baseball. So saying that she's utilizing a baseball bat to play baseball sounds unnatural in English. But saying he utilized a bat to hit the boy, that's correct. Who's utilizing the bathroom and who's using it? Well, if you've been paying attention, this should be pretty easy. The intended use of a bathroom is to use the toilet, take a shower, and wash your hands. So the two boys in the first picture, they're using the bathroom. Are they utilizing it? No. They're not utilizing the bathroom. Saying I utilize the bathroom to take a shower sounds very strange in English. Now, the two people on the bottom, they're using the bathroom as an office. You can say use for that. I used the bathroom as an office. But you could also use the word utilize here as well, because they're using the bathroom outside of its intended purpose. So utilize works in the second one, but not in the first one. So, which sentence sounds more natural? I utilized my spoon to eat soup. I used my spoon to eat soup. Well, the second one, definitely. I used my spoon to eat soup because the purpose of a spoon is to eat food. So saying I utilized my spoon to eat soup is wrong. It sounds very unnatural and very strange. It wouldn't be used in this sentence. If you're enjoying the lesson so far and like deeper explanations of English vocabulary words, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel so you can see me more often. It really helps out the channel, and I've got plenty more episodes that I want to share with you. So now that we know the meaning, what are some creative or interesting ways to utilize something? So using something outside of its intended purpose. Well, in this picture, the man's utilizing a chair as a ladder. The intended purpose of a chair is to sit on it. But in this one, he's using it as a ladder. Now, I can also use the word use here as well. Use fits well. Now, he's also utilizing something. What is he utilizing? Well, he's utilizing his phone as a flashlight. Now, the intended purpose of the flashlight on the phone is usually for taking pictures, but I think most of us have used the light as a flashlight as well. So utilize works in this situation as well. He's utilizing the flashlight on his phone to do some work in his house. Now, in all the examples we've done so far, utilize has been with concrete nouns. So we're utilizing nouns that we can touch. We're utilizing a chair as a ladder. You can hold the chair and touch it. He's utilizing the bathroom as an office. These are all concrete nouns, but you can also utilize abstract nouns. This is where it starts to get a bit interesting. So utilizing the chair as a ladder, that's a concrete noun. But you could also utilize an abstract noun such as knowledge. You could utilize your knowledge of something. Now, in this sentence, you could say something like, he utilized his knowledge of fixing motorbikes to fix the strange car. So the intended use of knowledge of fixing motorbikes is for fixing motorbikes. But some of the principles of fixing the engines might be the same. So he could utilize his knowledge of fixing motorbikes to fix a strange car. And here's an example. You see, he understands very well how to fix a motorbike. He understands all of the systems of the air and fuel mixture, the ignition, transferring power to the wheels, cooling the engine, and he can utilize that knowledge and apply it to fixing a strange car that he's never seen before. So it's a different machine, same principles. Now, you could also have the word use here as well. You could say he's using his knowledge of fixing motorbikes, but because he's using it in a creative way or interesting way, utilize also fits. Now, these words come in a few different forms, and it gets interesting as you get down the list. So we've got use and utilize, which are both verbs, but you could also have the adjective form of use, useful. Now, the noun form of the verb utilize is utilization. So the meaning is the same, but the way you construct the sentence is a little bit different. And then utility is where it gets really interesting. Utility comes up quite often, and it's an uncountable noun. It has the same meaning as utilize, but we can use it in very interesting ways. And there's also the noun form of use, which is use. You just have to change the pronunciation a little bit from a z sound to a s sound. So use is the verb, and then use is the noun. So to change the word utilize to utilization, you just have to change the end of the word. Now, if you wanted to use the verb form, utilize, you could say here, they utilized the space in this tiny house very well. And to say the same thing with utilization, you have to use a different verb. So, for example, in the next sentence, the utilization of space in this tiny house is very impressive. The verb appears very early in the first sentence here, but now we've replaced the verb with a very long noun phrase, the utilization of space in this tiny house. This is now the subject of the sentence. So just a very long noun phrase, and the verb appears here instead of utilize. We can just use verb be, is. So same sentence, just a different way to say it with the noun form instead of the verb form. So here's an example of what we were just talking about. See, they utilized the space in this tiny home very, very well, very impressively, or the utilization of space is very impressive. They've put the bedroom above the living area and utilized the space in a very creative way. Changing the form to the adjective useful also changes the way we can use it as well. So useful can be used to say that something is used very often or is easily utilized. So saying something like my smartphone is very useful, you could say that you use it for many different things, or you use it very often, you use it every day. Now, changing utilize to utility, you also change the end of the word and it becomes an uncountable noun. Now, the way you use it is you say that something has a lot of utility because it's an uncountable noun. We'll put here has a lot of. So such as saying, my smartphone has a lot of utility. So think about that sentence. What do you think we're trying to communicate? My smartphone has a lot of utility. We're saying that it can be utilized in many different ways. And we know this, smartphones are very easily utilized. We could use them as a map, as a camera, basically as anything that a computer can do, a smartphone can do as well. Now let's go even deeper. You could say, which app on your phone has a lot of utility? So not just the phone itself, what app on the phone has a lot of utility? Well, one that comes to mind for me is Google Maps. I get a lot of utility out of Google Maps because I don't just use it as a map, which is its intended purpose. I use it to find restaurants, measure distance, check the weather, learn geography, check out new cities. I'm sure some of you do the same thing. But yeah, Google Maps has a lot of utility. Very useful app. And it can appear as an adjective, such as saying a utility belt. This is a utility belt. Why do you think we call it a utility belt? So remember, the meaning of the word utility, something that it can be used in a creative or interesting way. Well, in this situation, we've put tools in the belt. So there are lots of different creative jobs we could do with tools. But you don't even have to put tools in here. You could put pens and notepads if someone was using them often. You could even put candy in them or food for quick access to snacks. So you could use it in a variety of different ways, a utility belt. All right, now the last form we'll talk about is the noun form of use, which is use. Now remember before we talked about just changing the pronunciation slightly. Use has a Z sound, but use just has a S sound, and it changes the form. This appears in quite a few English words. You could use it in a sentence like this. I get a lot of use out of this computer. It's just saying that you use it quite often. Maybe the sentence could also mean that it's also utilized quite often as well. All right, now, I'd love to hear from you guys. Go ahead and try and make a sentence with the words we've used today. You could use your own sentence, but if you can't think of anything, I've given you some here for you to practice with. Try and finish all of them if you can, and write them in the comments below. I'd love to see your ideas. I've also put some extra activities in the pinned comments for you to practice with, but here for now, here's some gap fill questions. Well, which one feels more natural, use or utilize? And now, more than one answer is definitely possible, but try to think of the context of the sentence. Which one fits in a better way? All right, guys, thank you for making it to the end of the video. A lot of people assume that the words use and utilize have the same meaning. There are some important differences that make them unique, and these little differences are what makes English such a fun and unique language. Now, I had a lot of fun making this video. If you'd like to see more of me, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty more ideas that I'd love to share with you. And also, don't forget to put your sentences in the comments below. I'd love to read them and try your best to answer the gap fill questions that I included as well. I might even include them in a future video and review some of the best ones. I'd also love to hear any stories that you guys have to tell about a time where you utilized or used something in a creative way. Thank you for stopping by and watching my video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I would love to make some more. So I hope to see you in the next one. Stay busy, be good, and I'll see you next time.